The Jeep Wrangler is undoubtedly one of the most identifiable American car designs in American car history. It dates back to 1941, and the design has been relatively unchanged since then. However, recent Jeeps have left owners with a bit of a predicament. Do you go for the two-door more traditional model, or the four-door Unlimited? Well, the answer may surprise you, and that's coming up next on the Fast Lane Car. Now, from the bulkhead forward, the Wrangler and the Wrangler Unlimited are basically the same vehicle. Both have the 3.6-liter Pentastar V6. Both can be had in either the 5-speed automatic transmission or the 6-speed manual. And both can be had in any trim level, from the Sport all the way up to the Rubicon Hard Rock. The story is different here at the rear of the vehicle. The two-door Wrangler has a wheelbase of just over 95 inches, with the four-door being 116. The Unlimited Wrangler, the four-door, has a turning circle that's 6 feet longer than the two-door. So if you live in a very dense area or are often parking in really tight parking lots, it's definitely worth a consideration that the two-door has a much tighter turning circle. Now up front, the differences are very marginal. There is about an inch of extra headroom in the four-door Wrangler. I'm about 5'11" and I fit in here just fine, so that's not a worry for me. Also, any options available on the two-door will also be available on the four-door, and that goes for most accessories as well. Moving to the rear of the vehicle is where we will see most of the difficulties that occur with the two-door Wrangler. So I just gotta say it, ingress and egress to the rear seats is just terrible in the two-door Wrangler. If you plan on often traveling with more than 2 occupants, or you carry a lot of luggage, which you will keep in the rear seat, just go for the four-door. Let me show you what I mean. So you open up the door. That's pretty standard, that's fine. And then there's a lever at the base of the passenger seat, which you pull up, and the backrest will flip forward, and then the whole seat slides. Now that's great and all, but this system is much worse than my previous Wrangler, the 1995 YJ, because when you retract the seat, it doesn't return to its original position. So if I were to get into the vehicle right now, I'm sitting bolt upright. This is the most frustrating thing if you're carrying people, because then they have to figure out how to all of a sudden return the seat back to its position it was before, adjust the lever. It's just a complete mess. The story is even worse on the driver's side, because just like the passenger side, there is a lever which you can pull, which will release the backrest, but then there's a steering wheel in the way. So you have less access to the rear seats. So squeezing into the rear seat can be a little bit tricky for shorter individuals, but sorry for the butt shot. Once you're back here, it's actually pretty good. So I've got enough headroom. I feel like I have enough width here and enough legroom. Now, the four-door has an additional 2 inches of legroom and an astonishing 10 inches of hip room. And the reason for that is it can seat 5 versus the two-door, which only seats 4. There is no middle seat here in the two-door. Getting back, you'll see another issue which is happening right now. The door closes automatically because, being a Wrangler, they're easy to take off, but they have no hinge supports. So if you're on any kind of an incline, any kind of a hill, the door will close if you're trying to get into the back seat. It's not all bad news for the little two-door Jeeps. I love the way they look. I actually prefer the way they look. I think their lines are a little cleaner, the proportions a little bit more natural, and I love the heritage that comes along with the basic two-door Wrangler dating all the way back to 1941. And there are more upsides too, gas mileage being one of them. Of course, a Wrangler is never going to be great. 18 combined on both the Unlimited and the two-door. However, the two-door does get 17 in the city, 21 in the highway compared to 16 in the city and 20 in the highway for the Unlimited. You don't buy a Wrangler for a utility, but the fact of the matter is, if you're daily driving it like I am, you will need to put stuff in the rear seat. You will need to put stuff in the trunk. Both Wranglers have the swing open tailgate, and I have a best top soft top on here right now, so let me just roll that up. Behind the rear seat of the two-door Wrangler is a disappointing 12.8 cubic feet of space. I've got some utility bags in here just for reference, and it pretty much fills up the trunk. Now the four-door Wrangler, 31.5 cubic feet of space, over double the amount of the two-door. Of course, when I fold these rear seats down with one lever, they pop up. This increases to 55 cubic feet, and the four-door goes up to 71, just under 71 cubic feet of space, which is a lot of room. If you're planning on just doing solo drives or with a buddy in the passenger seat, the two-door is fine. 55 cubic feet of room is plenty. However, the second a third person comes along and all their stuff, definitely consider the four-door, because with the seats folded up, it's just not a lot. For those of you off-road types, obviously the Wrangler is super capable right out of the box. The breakover angle on a two-door is 25.8 degrees versus 21 on the four-door, so it's a lot better on the two-door Wrangler. However, you do have a smaller fuel tank, 18.6 versus 22.5 gallons, and the four-door can tow a lot more, 3,500 at maximum with the tow group versus 2,000 on the Wrangler. So at the end of the day, it really just comes down to what you're going to use your Jeep Wrangler for. I know that personally, it's normally just me in the Jeep, maybe one other person, so the two-door was right for me. I also love the looks of the thing. I think the classic Jeep styling is definitely there with the two-door. Not that the four-door looks bad at all, especially when you lift them with big tires, but I just think the two-door is a little bit cleaner and just a little bit cooler. And I also know the price difference is pretty astronomical. So the Wrangler Sport, the very base model with the 16-inch wheels, starts in the two-door configuration at $23,895. Now the four-door, almost $4,000 more, $27,695. That's a huge chunk of change, especially if you're just getting into Jeeps, if you just want something to poke around in. That's a lot of money, and I just couldn't justify it for my lifestyle. If you have kids, if you're going to be hauling dogs around, if you're going to be going on a lot of long camping trips with a lot of stuff and a lot of friends, definitely take a look at the four-door. Now in terms of driving dynamics, some people say the four-doors ride a little bit smoother. This one with its original wheels and tires, the 17-inch rims and the Goodyear Wranglers, rode like a dream. I mean, it was amazing how smooth it was. Granted, I was coming out of an old Wrangler, but still I was just astonished. So there's not much of a difference, for me at least, in terms of the way they drive. But I love the size of the two-door. They're really easy to park. They turn on a dime. Their gas mileage is, still pretty disappointing for a small truck, but something I can live with. And I know I'm not hauling a lot. I'm never going to be towing, so the two-door was the right choice for me, and I'm saving a big chunk of change. Tell me your opinions. Let me know what you use your Wranglers for, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching TFL Car. Bye.
It's Camaro versus Mustang. America versus America. Race car driver versus, Alright, well, I'm gonna do my best, but I've got launch control, so I'm gonna let the car do the launching. And that is coming up right now on the Fast Lane Now. That's right, you're watching TFL Now, our new YouTube channel where we have fun things behind the scenes, all kinds of cool stuff like this.